From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, National Security Advisor warns against political violence ahead of 2023 elections. Court reserves judgment on Machina's recognition as APC candidate. Chief of Army Staff launches Operation Mugumbugu to tame banditry in Niger. And on the foreign scene, 17 inmates on the run after Comoros Islands jailbreak. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now, with just 105 days to the 2023 general elections, the National Security Advisor to the President, Babagana Munguno, had advised those with the intention of disrupting the peaceful conduct of the election to desist from doing so or face the wrath of the law. The National Security Advisor, who gave the warning to political parties during an emergency meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security with INEC, said security agencies would not sit idle and allow anyone to disrupt the election. Noel Samson tells us more.
The emergency security meeting became necessary after INEC's offices in Ogun and Osun State were attacked by thugs. According to reports, some unidentified persons overpowered the security personnel on duty and set both office buildings ablaze.
While the attack and consequential damage in Ede South was minimal, that of Abeokuta South was extensive. Materials destroyed include 904 ballot boxes, 29 voting cubicles, 8 electric power generators, 57 election bags, 30 megaphones, 65,699 uncollected PVCs, and a host of other assorted items such as stamps and stamp pads.
National Security Advisor to the President, Babagana Munguno, however, reassured the public that the security agencies are going to do everything within their power to ensure that Nigerians have peaceful elections come 2023. The Security Advisor warned those who may want to use the means that are unorthodox to stabilize an already delicate situation to think, as the law will not allow such person to go unpunished.
I want to assure you that the security agencies have been given clear-cut instructions to preempt and deal with any situation in which any rogue organization or institution decides to embark on what we consider to be a fundamentally criminal enterprise or undertaking. You lose your marbles or you allow your cheese to slide off the cracker, you will be brought to book.
On the spot, the Inspector General of Police said the police are ready to exhibit the highest level of professionalism and perseverance within the confines of the law to ensure law and order before, during, and after 2023 polls.
We have witnessed sabotage to the general election by destroying and attacking INEC offices, personnel, and so forth. It is our determination to ensure that these things are put to rest very quickly to enable us to forge ahead and conduct these general elections.
Despite the attacks on INEC's facilities, the Commission said it is committed to delivering smooth elections, urging all and sundry to play their part in ensuring the end goal is achieved. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now here is a timeline of some attacks of INEC offices around the country between 2019 to date.
On 3rd of February 2019, the Abia INEC office in Isiala, Wasau local government area was attacked and permanent voter cards stocked in the office were set ablaze. 10th February 2019, Plateau INEC office, Kwanpan local government area, where ballot boxes, amongst other things, were destroyed during an attack on the office. In 2020, on the 3rd of February, Anambra INEC office, Ogidi, in the Idemili North local government area, was attacked. In the FCT, on the 17th of April 2020, the INEC national headquarters was attacked. On the 2nd of May 2021, the Akwa Ibom INEC office in Esianudim was attacked and set ablaze. 7 days after, on the 9th of May 2021, the Abia INEC office at Ohafia local government was set ablaze. Still in May of 2021, on the 16th of the same month, the Enugu INEC office, Enugu State Headquarters, was attacked and 6 vehicles set ablaze. This year alone, there have been 4 attacks. On the 2nd of May 2022, Zamfara INEC office at Kauran Namuda local government area, office furniture was destroyed. 3rd of July 2022, Enugu INEC office at Iboeze North local government area was burned, with 48 ballot boxes and 240 voting cubicles, office furniture and cubicles destroyed. And on the 10th of November 2022, Ogun INEC office at Yano Mortuary, Abeokuta, was set on fire. In Osun, the INEC office at Oke Iresi in Edale South local government area was also set on fire.
PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has said that his convoy was attacked in Maiduguri, Borno State, despite candidates signing the peace accord facilitated by the National Peace Committee. He alleged that the attack by some thugs was masterminded by the political leadership of Borno State. Atiku said this when he visited the former military president, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, in Minna, Niger State, on Friday. On the lingering crisis between the PDP presidential candidate and G5 governors, Atiku said they have been engaging them and they will continue to engage them to restore peace in the party. He said they were in Minna to pay respect to General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida for the services he had rendered to Nigeria and that they will continue to come for blessings. Atiku was accompanied by the governor of Delta State and vice presidential candidate of the party, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, Governors Darius Ishaku of Taraba State, Aminu Waziri Tambuwal of Sokoto State, and former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, among others. And ahead of the 2023 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission has called on political parties to shun politics of bitterness, engage in peaceful campaigns, and avoid acts capable of undermining the process during and after the election. The Kwara State Resident Electoral Commissioner described the signing of the electoral law as the best thing that happened to the country, as it will eliminate rigging and other electoral malpractices. The report.
The Kwara State branch of the Independent National Electoral Commission is organizing a stakeholders forum for 17 political parties in Kwara State to brief them on the preparedness of the Commission towards the 2023 general election. The Commission wants them to shun usage of thugs during the campaign, politics of bitterness, and anything that can cause chaos.
The truth about the new electoral law, the best thing that happened to this country in our electoral process is the signing into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. It has changed a lot of things and to allow us to use technology.
From the security agencies came a barrage of warnings to the politicians to shun vote buying, as they have been trained to track such vices.
The Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has initiated many strategies, including training and retraining of the men, both locally and internationally. Procurement of material logistics, workshop and seminars for officers and men in the force. All these are geared towards achieving free, fair, credible, and peaceful election in 2023.
Now with BVAS, no more incidental forms and everything. Rigging is so highly eliminated. So the only other thing that politicians and other people will resort to will be vote buying. and they are preparing. Now, understand this, that vote buying does not happen on the day, just on the day of election. It's a process.
For the resident electoral commissioner, the signing of the electoral law by the president will eliminate election rigging in the country, especially with the use of technology.
So by the time you add this figure with the total number of registered voters that was used in 2019 general election, which stands at 1,401,895 plus 287,393. It will give you a total of 1,689,288.
With the meeting, it is expected that stakeholders are now fully abreast of rules guiding the election and will educate their members to ensure a peaceful poll.
Now, a federal high court sitting in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, has voided the election of Emmanuel Bwacha as Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for joining the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC). Justice Simon Amobeda ordered him to immediately vacate his seat as senator. The judge held that his mandate in the Red Chamber belongs to the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and not APC, as he was elected under the platform of the main opposition party. The PDP in the state had approached the court to declare the senator's seat vacant for dumping the party on which he was elected. APC in Taraba, however, said the judgment will be challenged at the Court of Appeal. Meanwhile, the Court of Appeal in Abuja has reserved judgment in an appeal by the All Progressives Congress (APC) challenging the decision of the Federal High Court, which affirmed Bashir Sharif Machina as APC senatorial candidate for Yobe North. The three-member panel, headed by the President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongban Mensem, made this submission after all parties in the suit argued and adopted their processes. The APC had approached the appellate court seeking to set aside the judgment of Justice Fatima Aminu, insisting that Ahmad Lawan is the authentic senatorial candidate for Yobe North. Counsel to Ahmad Lawan, Shoaib Arwa, said the Yobe senatorial primary of May 28, where Machina emerged as candidate, was conducted by the Yobe chapter of the APC and not by the National Working Committee of the party. He argued further that the other primary held on June 9th was conducted by the APC National Working Committee and as such has the blessings of the party. Counsel to Machina Ibrahim Bawa had earlier told the court that the appellant's brief is the same as the original brief with nothing different. The appellate court subsequently adjourned the matter till a date that will be communicated to all parties involved in the suit. And now to matters of security, where the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, has unveiled a military operation codenamed Exercise Mugumbugu in Niger State as part of efforts to tame the tide of insurgency and banditry and other criminalities in the north, central and other parts of the country. The operation was launched after 2 weeks of training and drilling of troops from various army formations at the Nigerian Army Training Center, Kwantagora in Niger State. Unveiling the operation on Friday, the Chief of Army Staff said the exercise is aimed at curbing the insecurity and banditry in Niger State and other parts of the country, noting that the security challenges facing the country are not insurmountable. He said the Army had learned from the operations in the northeast, the northwest and north central and is combining the conventional and non-conventional tactics to confront the dynamics of adversaries. Earlier, the commander of the Nigerian Army Training and Doctrine Command, Mina, Major General S.O. Olabanji, said the troops were occupied with requisite skills and knowledge in conventional and non-conventional tactics to meet the expectations in the fight against insecurity. The operation will be jointly undertaken with the air component to achieve results. Meanwhile, the new Commissioner of Police deployed to Katsina, Shehu Nadada, vowed to deal with terrorists ravaging some parts of the state. He said the police is committed to ensuring security of lives and property and promised to take the fight against terrorists to their hideouts. Abdullahi Yamadi completes the story.
While advising the terrorists to lay down their arms and take legitimate trades, CP Nedada promised to fight against all bandits and their collaborators wherever they are in Katsina State. CP Nedada charged men and officers of the command to brace up for the task ahead and urged the good people of Katsina State to support the command to succeed in dwarfing insecurity in the state.
The Katsina State has an area of about 24,292 square kilometers, which is large. And you have to collaborate and cooperate with all these critical, particularly vigilantes, traditional rulers, to ensure adequate coverage of those communities. The seventh one is to cooperate and collaborate with other sister security agencies in our effort to make the entire state safe for all law-abiding citizens.
While appreciating the synergy between the police and other security agencies, the Katsina Police Command is given assurances that it will be improved upon and consolidated. He, however, said the fight against terrorists and their collaborators could only succeed if traditional rulers, opinion leaders, and the media joined hands with the security operatives at all levels.
On all members of the public to assist us with information so that all these challenges we have will be tackled frontally. Any information given to us will be treated with utmost confidentiality. But the problem we have at times is when you give information, sometimes it will leak. I'm assuring members of the public whatever information is given to us is going to be treated with utmost confidentiality.
These assurances by the new CP is believed that it will restore the hope lost by the people living in the insecurity-prone communities who have been battling banditry for 7 years. It could be recalled that many farming communities have abandoned their farm produce for the fear of attacks, killings, abductions, and rustling of animals which have been eating the growth and development of Katsina State. Abdullahi Ismail Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And still talking security, police in Kwara State say the suspected medical director of Kaimat General Hospital allegedly involved in killings of some ladies both in Edo and Kwara State will soon be brought to Kwara to answer more questions on other killings. The State Commissioner of Police, Paul Odama, while briefing journalists on the activities of the command, also said that 3 suspects involved in the abduction of a state magistrate, Jumoke Bamboye, have been arrested. The police boss warned criminals to relocate elsewhere as the police command will not condone criminal activities.
And information at the disposal of Oyekorin Divisional Headquarters revealed that on the 3rd of November at about 0200 hours, one Madaki Seidun of Flani camp at Ayegunle village was in his residence with his family members when some suspected Flani armed with dangerous weapons stormed his house and attacked his son named Musa Madaki.
The Nigeria Immigration Service has warned Nigerians to be wary of what it termed the dire consequences of smuggling of migrants, which the agency said could lead to severe abuse and exploitation. The controller of the Oyo State Command of the Immigration Service, Isa Dan Suleiman, who gave the warning in Oyo, decried the dangers inherent in irregular migration, while also lamenting the massive exodus of the nation's brightest minds out of the country in search of greener pastures. The immigration boss described the smuggling of migrants as a clandestine crime and advised youth across the country to join hands in the nation-building process, while also stressing that Nigeria had the capacity to be a prosperous nation.
Sensitize people on SOM, as sponsored by our development partner, the NUGC, against SOM, what we call smuggling of migrants. So it is very important. In collaboration with others, with agencies and the public. So let people know the other aspects and the menace of smuggling of migrants. So that people, the hard time people know that it is becoming too much of people living outside the country without people know where they are going. And at the end, the result is negative. That we want to stop. Nigerians will be very careful, to be wary of lofty promises. I want to advise people to stay back and let us salvage the nation together. It will be better for us. That's my advice, Nigerians.
We should do everything that we can do to increase perception among the people, so that people will understand what human trafficking entails, and of course smuggling of migrants. Not many people understands what the difference between these two, and of course the difference between smuggling of migrants, human trafficking, as well as immigration itself. So why it is okay for anyone to migrate to wherever they feel it's okay for them, but the irregularities there, the evil there, the means, and that is what we need to pay attention to. And so when people gain knowledge, then they will become aware of how to protect themselves against the evil. But one thing we can be sure of is that human trafficking tends to continue to be on the increase. It is highly prevalent now, and the evil is that of exploitation. The extent of the exploitation, no one can decide it even from the beginning. Sometimes it even affects humans' life. And so that is why we need to do all that we can by letting people know what going to the public places, sensitizing the people, building capacity of everyone on the steps they need to take to prevent, and in the case of events of human trafficking, how to make reports appropriately and to take steps to address it.
Stay with us on Trust TV News Hour. Still ahead, we'll tell you why Sokoto residents do not like goat meat. This and more after the break. Do stay with us.
Ba a iya sutura da abinci jin daɗin duniyar mai ƙare. Za ka iya more rayuwarka da kayan alfarma na kamfanin Vento Furniture kamar su Ladi Corner Sets, Escape Sofa Sets, Acadia Sofa, Piano Sofa Sets, Sofa Corner Sets, Vento Sofa Sets. Sannan kuma za ku iya saka ƙayatattun gadaje na alfarma a ɗakunan kamar su Gold Cream Bedroom Sets, ko kuma ku wadata falonku da kujeru na alfarma irin su Sare Royal Set da Acadia Dining Sets. Ofishoshinku kuwa za ku iya saka manya-manyan kujeru na kece raini domin walwala da jin daɗin ku da abokan hulɗa. Kamfanin Vento Furniture ya tanadar muku gadajen bacci na yara masu inganci, kayan ɗaki irin na angwaye da amare har ma da sarakuna. Muna da shagunan mu a gurare kamar haka: 79 Allen Avenue, Ikeja, Lagos; 7A Azikiwe Road, Port Harcourt; 25 Glover Road, Ikoyi, Lagos; Shop U1 Jabi Lake Mall, Abuja; da kuma 4330 Walker Road, Windsor, Ontario ga mazauna ƙasar Canada. Vento Furniture, mun zagaye ko'ina.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now let's recap our top stories. National Security Advisor warns against political violence ahead of 2023 elections. And court reserves judgment on Machina's recognition as APC candidate. Moving on to other news now, Senator Ali Ndume has called on the federal government to resolve its lingering crisis with the Academic Staff Union of Universities. The senator said the way that the federal government is handling the negotiations shows lack of interest, as it is not directly affected by the crisis. He warned that the failure to settle the demands of ASUU will lead to total collapse of the education system. He further stressed that if the federal government could borrow huge loans for the budget, it can also borrow or slash National Assembly salaries to pay outstanding 8-month salary of ASUU and other demands.
He's been paid as a lecturer to 130,000 naira. Yes. Can you imagine? Federal University. How can you say that ASUU has no cause to go on strike? The ASUU have the right to go on strike. They went on strike. Instead, if the federal government was serious, they should have resolved the problem in time. Or if the ASUU was stubborn in terms of or not considerable in the negotiation. Nigerians are listening. But all I'm saying is that it is high time the federal government resolves this issue of ASUU once and for all. Even if they have to borrow, even if they have to make special supplementary budget, even if they have to make another budget or this budget. Because I don't understand why the federal government will be spending or planning to spend 8.2 trillion on overhead with no recurrent expenditure, no debt, and it involves borrowing to pay some people that work from home, and you are saying that ASUU is asking for too much? I don't agree with that.
Meanwhile, aviation unions have threatened a total shutdown of the industry over the federal government's plan to demolish Lagos headquarters annexes of major aviation agencies. That is the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, and the Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, NAMA. Daily Trust reports that there has been an uneasy calm over the move, which the union said would leave thousands of workers without offices. The Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, had, in the peak of COVID-19 in 2020, directed the aviation agencies to relocate to Abuja despite not having befitting offices. Secretary General of NUATE, Ocheme Abba, who spoke on behalf of the unions, observed that for every inexplicable reason, none of the minister's projects has been delivered to date, against which reason he has been in a frenzy to deliver the projects for an administration that is at its twilight. He said this rush to deliver at all costs has caused suspicion and a plethora of missteps, which he said, if not corrected, will spell doom for the aviation industry.
Exercise of the 4 international airports and other aspects of the aviation roadmap under the Ministry of Aviation. We have decided to establish an action plan of what we are going to do immediately. The first of such action plan is we are calling on the Federal Executive Council to halt any further approvals on the airport's concession program and indeed any other aviation roadmap project, pending a comprehensive forensic audit of the projects undertaken up to this point. It is our firm belief that such audit will expose the activities so far to be wasteful of public funds and to be tilted away from national good. This is the least that the FEC can do in order to redeem itself in the face of the accusation that it has so far been railroaded into giving consent to bad deals for the country. We are also calling on the Nigerian Labour Congress, the Trade Union Congress, and civil society organizations to mobilize all Nigerian workers and the Nigerian people to join our effort to rescue our common patrimony from the grasp of powers that be in the aviation industry. We are also calling on fan staff and pensioners, and indeed the entire aviation workers, to stand ready for the fight of our lives in defense of our genuine rights and interests and to save our industry from ruination. We are also calling on all patriotic Nigerians to join in this once and for all battle, to let our elected leaders know that our national assets do not belong to the few opportune individuals in government and their cronies for them to share and plunder, nor do they have powers to act as they please over national interests without our consent.
Now to Lagos State, where the federal government said the closure of the Eko Bridge for a comprehensive rehabilitation was in order to prevent any danger to road users. Minister of Works and Housing Babajide Fashola, who inspected the bridge, said while the federal government recognizes the strategic importance of the bridge, which links Lagos mainland to Lagos Island, there is the need to protect the public from any form of accident. This is just as the minister tasked the Lagos State government to immediately remove all residents trading and living under bridges, disclosing that there had been a series of fire incidents at several bridges in the state. He listed the various bridges that had been gutted by fire to include 2 sections of Eko Bridge, Marine Bridge at Apapa, or Balende, among others, describing the fire incidents as one too many. Eko Bridge is one of the 3 bridges connecting Lagos Island to the mainland, and it is the shortest of the 3 bridges.
We must, as a people, come to an understanding that under bridges are not marketplaces. And we have reached a point where I think the best words to describe it is tough love. Because if we do not show tough love, one day those columns are going to come down and they are going to kill people very, very extensively. I don't want to be here picking bodies, mangled and dead bodies under tonnage of concrete, but we are slowly getting close. So we're reaching the point where we're telling the Lagos State government now, you have our support, you have our encouragement, and we will work side by side with you to remove all the residents who use under bridges as places of trading. They're not places of trading.
Important for you, the pressmen and women, to also let people understand we are destroying our lives by the way we've decided to live our lives. So if you go and cook under a bridge, it's not that you are making money. So, but when we clear them, people will say you are denying people of their livelihood. It's not like that. It's that you don't live your own life by destroying other people's lives. Like we said, you can see, if these actions are not taken, this bridge will collapse. It will collapse. People will die. And, you know, we all complain that it's traffic hold up. Well, see that we've shut down a lot of bridges. That's why everybody's on Third Mainland Bridge now. And there's massive, and it's not going to get better. So we must decide to live the right way.
By May, we should reopen that part of the bridge back to traffic, yes.
And out with the environment, as flood recedes across the country, Farmers and Commodities Association, under the auspices of the Forum of Agricultural Commodity Associations Presidents, called on President Muhammadu Buhari to provide intervention funds to farmers to immediately commence the 2022-2023 dry season farming across the country to mitigate the impact of the flood on food security. Now, this is part of demands read out by the chairman of the association, Sadiq Umar Dawari, during a media conference in Abuja. The report.
Mr. President should direct the Central Bank of Nigeria to urgently provide funds for farmers for the 2022-2023 dry season farming. This should be treated.
Dawari said the looming food crisis can be averted by proactive interventions by federal, state and local governments to ameliorate plight of farmers in order to ensure food availability. He also acknowledged that Nigeria reclaimed its rightful position as a giant of Africa in self-sufficiency in food production as Comatose factories were revived and emergence of medium as well as large-scale integrated rice mills across the country.
The forum is willing to partner and collaborate with other relevant bodies that ensure Nigerians' agricultural product gain acceptance and value in the international market and meet export standards.
The Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, RIFAN, represented by the coordinator, Social Projects, Shehu Muazu, assured that there is no need to panic over food shortage as earlier declared by the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development. However, in terms of losses to the flood, he said about 60% of production is in the lowlands, which have been submerged by flood, and rice farmers are yet to come out from this psychological trauma.
We all know that the floods have covered almost the entire lowland areas of Nigeria. And as far as counting the losses, we are still at it, because some of our farmers are yet to come out of the psychological trauma that the flood has brought.
President of Maize Farmer Association of Nigeria, Abubakar Bello, attributed rising food prices to high cost of production, pointing out that prices of fertilizer, agrochemicals and other farm inputs have more than doubled.
Look at the price of one bag. Up to now is not of the price of one bag of fertilizer, because we bought fertilizer 30,000 to 32,000, while farmer is selling his maize now at the rate of 20 to 25,000 naira, if you compare. While the other inputs also their price has raised.
With the looming food crisis occasioned by the war in Ukraine, climate change and other localized challenges, it is necessary upon the government and all other relevant stakeholders to work together to ensure sufficient food availability.
Now, poor remuneration for both government and some private organizations' employees has been identified as the major factor fueling corruption in the country. Retirees under the Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees in Adamawa have called on states that are yet to implement the minimum wages of 30,000 naira to do so to reverse the trend. Salis Lawan has the report.
Local government retirees are paid their benefit of their contributory scheme, but many said the money paid to them is not enough to cater for their need.
I want to appreciate the leadership of the union for a good job being done, and I want them to sustain the tempo at which they are operating the welfare scheme. But above all, I want the union, that's the management of the National State Working Committee of the union, to further don't just leave the workers at the mercy of the pension board, because there are many benefits that are not paid to the pensioners of local government, primary health care, and the NUT, who are all driving their own benefits through the local government, through the local government ministry.
I thank God first because I'm alive. I saw myself in this position and up to my retirement. I also thank the NOLGI office because of this welfare scheme given to us, because it will support us in our retirement services. We are going to start our life fresh now.
The retirees also stressed that payment of minimum wage should no longer be subjected to further debates in the state, noting that as the Constitution demands, the council workers in every state should be paid their minimum wage of 30,000 naira.
If workers are getting such kind of a benefit, it will make our workers to be highly productive. I believe and have faith this message will sound to their ears through our branch chairmen that are here, and even the state office will find a good time to meet them in the various local government, so that such kind of benefit, worker will have it as at Wendy.
Some retirees in Adamawa have embraced small businesses to augment their incomes after service years. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
Now, the Sustainable Development Goals are a global call to action to end poverty, protect the Earth's environment and climate, and ensure that people everywhere can enjoy peace and prosperity. And since the adoption of these goals, Nigeria has continued to show commitment to achieving these global goals through leadership and active participation. Maridia Umar reports that to amplify the call to more action, some youth who are key players in the realization of the SDGs across the country organized a summit tagged SDG Connect Summit in Abuja. The report.
The SDG Connect Summit is an annual event that brings together key players of the social development goals to emphasize the importance of achieving the set objectives. The summit focused on getting everyone involved in actualizing the sustainable development goals in Nigeria before 2030. Some of the youths present at the summit said if all institutions are involved, Nigeria will be among countries to achieve these goals before the anticipated time.
For us moving forward, one of the key, one of the components of this summit is the SDG General Assembly, and it's the UN model version. We call it the Youth Voices, or the Voices of the People, where we look at all the 17 goals to come up with resolutions. And these resolutions will be drafting a communique that will be shared with various stakeholders. For government, we would like you to embrace this, look into it, and when you're designing programs, national framework policies, try to synergize this, because for
Nigeria is a path to the SDGs, and it's very important. It's from 1 to 17, and it mirrors every facet of the development of the world. And Nigeria cannot be absent from that kind of, because Nigeria, you know, it's the hope of Africa, and Africa is the hope of the world.
Advocate of the Sustainable Development Goals, I'm passionate about for 4 of the 17 sustainable goals: Goal 2, Zero Hunger; Goal 4, Quality Education; Goal 5, Gender Equality; and Goal 17, Partnership for the Goals. Now, the program we're having today, SDGs Connect, is to connect all the goals together and find out what is really happening.
The SDG is just a goal that actually captured everything about our life, our life cycle. So we want a good environment, we want a good life. SDG goals actually cover it all. So
this particular summit focused on partnerships for the goals. I'm really excited to see that there is an initiative that is hammering on partnerships, because there is so much that we can do together.
The theme for this year is strengthening institutions in realizing the Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria. Maridia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And as part of efforts to establish a lasting strategy to curb the menace of child marriage and female genital mutilation in parts of Africa, the African Union Mission Rapporteur on Ending Child Marriage and Other Harmful Practices during an evaluation visit to Nigeria is interacting with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, the Human Rights Commission, civil society organizations, religious and traditional leaders. The deliberations suggest amendment, domestication and implementation of existing laws across all states of the country. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu reports.
At the interactive session on evaluating the progress of Nigeria's response towards ending child marriage and other harmful traditional practices of the girl child, they say risk factors are low levels of education, ignorance, poverty, but reasons for increase of the menace is geared towards averting teenage pregnancy. But these stakeholders are working to provide the necessary support for victims and communities.
Driven, community-led initiative, but also they are testing various models, the Tostan model, but also the gender transformative approach models that they are also testing. One core intervention of the civil society in this endeavor is affording support to victims, support being psychosocial support, or support being affording a shelter to the victim.
They equally state the challenges faced during the course of executing projects.
There are some states that have not passed the Child Rights Act, and there are some states that have not passed the VAP law. So we believe that advocacy to the governors is also very key.
A lot still needs to be done to mobilize action around domesticating the Child Rights Act in Nigeria. Efforts have been in place. We've moved gradually, getting more states to sign. But as civil society, I think our big concern now is not just about the signing, but what is even the substance of these laws that are being domesticated in some of the states, especially some of the states in the north that are still significantly and consciously excluding the age of the child of marriage.
The recommendations call on all actors to increase advocacy and ensure full implementation of laws, among others.
Also to see what the milestone we achieve, we hit as a result of the sustained funding that been supporting us is very significant to us. It will also give us more skills, more kind of encouragement to double the effort we are doing in fighting the negative menace of all form of traditional harmful practice, female genital mutilation, child marriage.
We have to close the gaps in our policy process that better protect the rights of children, especially protecting them from child marriage and other harmful practices, and also protecting them from various forms of gender-based violence. The other challenge, and where we're making recommendations, is that we need to improve the coordination and the harmonization of even our efforts, not just as civil society organizations, but as stakeholders working in the space.
Child marriage and female genital mutilation threaten the well-being of millions of girls around the world, existing for generations as manifestations of gender inequality, human rights abuses, propagated by discriminatory norms that devalue girls. But these stakeholders want to stop to such practices to enable young girls attain their full potential. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, Sokoto State is one of the states in northern Nigeria that is endowed in animal production. It is estimated that the state has a total population of 2.9 million goats, 3.4 million cattle, 1.9 million sheep, and 40,000 donkeys. However, despite this endowment, majority of the people in the state do not eat goat meat. In this report, correspondent Yusho Adamu finds out why Sokoto people do not eat goat meat. His report.
Despite their affection for domestic animals' meat and the immense contribution to its production, majority of the people of Sokoto do not eat goat meat. Neither at suya joints nor at restaurants or hotels can someone get cooked or roasted goat meat to buy within the state capital.
Some people believe that this stems from the leader of the Jihad, Sheikh Usman Nafodio, that it was said that at the beginning of the Jihad, he made a promise that if God helps him and succeed in execution of the Jihad, he will at the end abandon or leave one of the things he loved, And it is said that he loved goat meat very well. And for that, he decided to leave the consumption of goat meat.
It is also unusual for an average Sokoto man to slaughter goat during festivities such as Salah, naming, and wedding ceremonies. Courtesy of this tradition, majority of goats produced in Sokoto are being taken to southwest and the neighboring states of Kano, Katsina, and Kaduna for consumption. Goat meat is good, which Islam allows us to eat, and it has nutritious value to our health more than ram meat. But the people of Sokoto believe that if they eat it, they will get rashes. Consequently, the few goats that are being locally processed in the state capital are largely consumed by other tribes. However, the impact of the long-standing tradition is more pronounced in the urban areas than in the rural.
Some people are allergic to goat meat. You understand? When they eat goat meat, they'll become allergic. That is what we call the rashes will come out from their body.
However, if the government can find a lasting solution to the allergic problem associated with goat meat, this notion can be changed. From Sokoto, Yushau Adamu, Trust TV News.
Now let's join Chiamaka Nwafo for business news.
Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, says the federal government plans to increase wheeling capacity of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, by over 1,000 megawatts to boost electricity supply. Aliyu said this on Friday while inspecting the Abuja Ring project being executed by the TCN. Speaking during the inspection, Aliyu said the project, numbering about 6, were made up of lines and substations, adding that it would be completed in December. According to Aliyu, the projects consist of a new substation in Dawaki, Gwarimpa, new Apo substation, old Apo existing substation, among others. According to the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, the country has a wheeling capacity of 7,500 megawatts. Among other factors, Nigeria's power sector is confronted by low transmission wheeling capacity against the total installed generation capacity of 12,522 megawatts. The chairman of the National Population Commission, NPC, Nasiru Kwara, has said that the federal government budgeted the sum of 532.7 billion naira for the 2023 National Housing and Population Census scheduled for April 2023. Kwara explained that the budget is to ensure that the federal government can complete the conduct of the census as well as the post-enumeration survey and all other post-census activities. He also added that the 2023 national census would mark a great departure from the past as it would be keen into the issue of climate change. And finally, in the stocks, transactions on the floor of the Nigerian stock market on Friday closed on a positive note as the oil share index advanced by 0.06% to close at 43,968.75 points from the previous close of 43,942.82 points. Investors gained 15 billion naira as the market capitalization grew by 0.06% to close at 23.949 trillion naira from the previous close of 23.934 trillion naira. The market break closed positive as 16 equities appreciated in their share prices against 7 equities that declined in their share prices. An aggregate of 209.7 million units of shares were traded in 2,942 deals valued at 2.166 billion naira. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
Well, thank you, Chiamaka, for that business update. We'll now move to the foreign scene where, after prison officials claimed that they had caught several fugitives, authorities are still searching for 17 inmates who escaped during a jailbreak in Comoros. According to the Director of Prison Administration in Moroni, the capital of the Indian Ocean island, 23 inmates escaped during the jailbreak on Wednesday night, although 6 were swiftly located. Prison officials claimed that the convicts used a transfer from the yard to their dorms to accomplish their departure without providing any other information. How the public prosecutor, Ali Mohammed Junaid, claimed that there was no outside influence when the convicts escaped. Now, since gaining independence from France in 1975, the Comoros Islands of Anjouan, Grande Comore and Moheli have experienced decades of oppressive poverty and political unrest, including around 20 coups. And now to sports news, where President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the Nigerian team that participated in the Continental Archery Championship held in Pretoria, South Africa. Rotimi Williams, Olatayo Olashinde and Damilola Sholademi, who represented Nigeria in the men's 50-meter compound bow, won silver, coming second behind South Africa. In the mixed category, comprising both genders, Williams Sholademi and Cholom Enyehinihi also won silver. The president, in a statement by his media aide, Malan Garba Shehu, commended the athletes for demonstrating the Nigerian value of bravery, passion and commitment in the maiden participation of the country in the African Archery Championship. We'll now join Adeni Ajishafe for sports news.
The Battle of All Ages Boxing Championship has seen the emergence of Tunde Olojede as the West African Boxing Union WABU Super Bantamweight champion. Olojede defeated Kamaruddin Nikwaye of Ghana by technical knockout in the supporting bout of the Battle of All Ages Boxing Championship held at the Sir Molade Okoya Thomas Indoor Sports Hall of Teslim Balogun Stadium, Surulere, Lagos. Afolabi Shitu made a double honor for Nigeria with victory over Ghanaian boxer Isaac Atete to lead the West African Boxing Union Super Flyweight title. Battle of All Ages Boxing Championship is approved by the Nigerian Boxing Board of Control, NBBOC, and promoted by Wasiu Alabi to help develop amateur and professional boxing in Nigeria. Tunde Olojede expresses delight for lifting the title.
I really feel happy, today I won the West Africa Boxing Union title, and this is a step ahead for me to win the ABU, WBC, WBO, WBF, IBF. We all need all the titles in there in Nigeria. So I'm the Nigeria Tony Star Tunde Olojede Super Bantamweight National Champion and the new West African Champion.
The championship featured bouts from amateur boxers in conjunction with Lagos State Amateur Boxing Association. Nigerian Boxing Board of Control NBBOC President Rafiu Ladipo explains more on how boxing is faring in Nigeria.
Pro boxing is a private initiative, but when they are fighting for titles across the world, whether it's the ABU, whether it's the Commonwealth, whether it's the WBF, the WBC, IBO, WBO, and the rest, that is when.
And that wraps up Trans TV News Hour for tonight. For more news, you can subscribe to watch us live on YouTube and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Have a good evening.